Treasure Island, Part 2. Hey, please make sure to reach down, click like, subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Our talk was interrupted by gunfire, and we ran toward the sound. Among the trees, we came upon a high wooden fence which ran around a cleared space in the forest. I could see the Union Jack flying from a strong log house in the clearing. I knew that my friends must have left the ship and were defending themselves in the log house. The battle with the pirates had begun. The Hispaniola lay in the inlet with the Jolly Roger at her mast. On the beach, a group of drunken sailors lolled in the sand. I parted from Ben Gunn and climbed the stockade to join my friends in the log house. They were delighted to see me, for they had feared for my safety. Dr. Livesey told me what had happened after I'd left the ship. The captain had decided that the time had come to fight it out with the pirates. From Flint's treasure chart, he knew about the log house. Dr. Livesey and one of our men had rowed ashore to find it. There was a fresh water spring by the house, and the high fence made it a good place to defend. They returned to the Hispaniola to collect the rest of the faithful crew. They had loaded a small boat with food and ammunition and made a dash for the shore. There was a small group of pirates still on board the ship. When they saw what was happening, they had opened fire on the little boat, and it had sunk in shallow water. The squire's party had waded ashore but lost half the stores and gunpowder. The doctor was sure the pirates would soon give up the fight. He said they would get ill from too much rum and with disease from their swampy campsite. I told my friends what had happened to me and of my meeting with Ben Gunn. Dr. Livesey wanted to know all about him, for we clearly needed help. The three leaders of our party were at their wits' end what to do. We had little food, and the pirates could soon starve us out. I was worn out at the end of a hard day and soon fell asleep. In the morning, I awakened to the sound of bustling and voices. Long John Silver himself was approaching the stockade carrying a white flag. Captain Smollett suspected a trick and ordered us to be ready to fire. Silver said he had come to make terms to end the fighting. He was allowed to come inside the stockade. He threw his crutch over, got a leg up, and cleverly dropped inside the clearing. He came and sat down outside the log house and told the captain that the pirates intended to get the treasure. He said that in exchange for the treasure map, he would take us off the island to some safe place. Captain Smollett was not the man to make terms with pirates. Angrily, he told Silver that he and the pirates were done for. Without the map, they had no hope of finding the treasure. With or without the treasure, not one of them could plot a course to sail the ship home. He ordered Silver out of his sight. Fury blazed in Silver's eyes, and with curses and threats, he disappeared into the woods. We now prepared for the coming attack and sat and waited in the baking heat. Suddenly, musket shots hit the longhouse, and the pirates leapt from the woods and climbed the stockade. Shouts and groans, shots and flashes filled the air. I grabbed a cutlass and dashed outside to join in the fight. In moments, we had fought them back. Those who were not killed or injured scampered to the woods for shelter. We ran back to the log house to take stock. We knew there must be a second attack. We had lost 2 men, and the captain was badly injured. We waited and watched, but all remained quiet. In the lull, I saw Dr. Livesey slip quietly out of the stockade. I guessed he was going to find Ben Gunn. Still no attack came, and I grew weary of waiting. The heat, the blood, and the dust made me restless, and I longed to get away to a cool, fresh place. I knew the captain would never let me leave the stockade. When no one was looking, I put my 2 pistols in my pocket and slipped out. I ran to the shore and felt the cool wind and watched the surf tumbling and tossing its foam along the beach. Climbing a hill, I could look down on the calm inlet where the Hispaniola lay on a flat sea. In a little boat beside her, I could make out Long John Silver. He was talking and laughing with the 2 men in the ship. No words reached me, but the screeching of Silver's parrot was carried on the wind.
"Rah! Piece of eight!
Pieces of eight! Ah! About sundown, Silver shoved off for the shore, and the two men left on board went below deck. I was sure that if the pirates could not find the treasure, they would sail away without us. A plan began to grow in my mind. Ben Gunn had told me that he had made a boat and hidden it near the shore. If I could get to the Hispaniola, I could cut her anchor ropes. She would drift away to another part of the shore, and the pirates would be unable to escape from the island. I searched in the bushes, and to my joy, found the hidden boat. It was made of goat skin stretched over a wooden frame, and it was so flimsy, I wondered if it was strong enough or big enough to hold me. With darkness, fog crept into the inlet. It was a perfect night for my plan. I pushed away from the shore and drifted silently toward the Hispaniola. As I came alongside the ship, I could hear loud, drunken voices. Israel Hands was shouting at another man. They were not only tipsy, it was plain they were also angry. On the shore, I could see the glow of the fires in the pirates' camp. Someone there was singing the song I'd heard so often before. 15 men on a dead man's chest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. Drink and the devil had be done for the rest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. Strand by strand, I cut the anchor rope, and the ship began to swing and slide away to the open sea. As she slid past me, I could see into the cabin. Israel Hands and the ship's watchman were fighting. They were too busy to feel the movement of the ship. I was in great danger, and I lay flat in my little boat, praying I would not be seen. For hours, it seemed, I was tossed on the waves, and I must have slept, for it was broad daylight when I awakened. My boat had drifted along the coast, but I could see no landing place under the rocky cliffs. I could only let my boat drift on and hope to find a sandy shore. The hot sun and the salt from the sea spray had given me a raging thirst. I wanted to be on shore in the cool shade of the trees. As I rounded a headland, the sight before me made me forget my cares. No more than half a mile away lay the Hispaniola. Her sails were set, but by the way she turned and drifted, it was clear no one was steering her. If the pirates were drunk, I could get aboard her. I might be able to capture the ship. I paddled fast, but with the wind filling her sails, the Hispaniola kept her lead. At last I had my chance. The breeze fell, and she turned in the current and stopped. I came alongside and leapt aboard. The wind took her sails, and she rushed down on a wave and sank my little boat. I had no way of escape now. I moved quickly on the deck among empty bottles. Not a soul was to be seen. At length I saw two pirates. One was clearly dead, lying on the blood-stained deck. The other was Israel Hands, wounded and groaning and unable to stand. When he saw me, he begged for brandy to ease his pain. I went below into the wrecked cabin to find some brandy, and after a drink, Hands seemed stronger. I agreed to give him food and to patch his wounds if he would tell me how to steer the ship into a safe harbor. For the time being, he needed me to help him, and I needed his help to save the ship. But I did not trust his odd smile as he craftily watched me. He asked me to fetch some wine from the cabin, and when he thought I had gone below, he staggered painfully across the deck and picked up a knife which he hid in his jacket. This was all I needed to know. Israel was now armed, and I knew he meant to kill me as soon as we had brought the ship ashore. The beaching was difficult. It took all my care, for I did not want to damage the ship, and so I was too busy to keep watch on Hands at all time. Suddenly, I was aware of danger. Perhaps I had heard a creak or seen a shadow moving with the tail of my eye, but sure enough, when I looked around, there was Hands already halfway toward me. A dagger was in his right hand. I dashed away and pulled a pistol from my pocket. Turning, I took aim and fired. There was no flash, no sound. The powder was wet with seawater. The ship gave a sudden lurch as she hit the shore, and we were both thrown off our feet. Before Hands could stand again, I had climbed the mast. Safe for the moment, I sat in the rigging and put dry powder in my pistols. Hand was slowly coming up the mast. His dagger between his teeth, he dragged himself after me. And I see we're starting to run a little long, so we'll pause here and continue with this story in the next video. I hope you're enjoying Treasure Island. Thanks so much for listening. I love you guys. As Tigger says, ta-ta for now.